The morning was bright when Ravi started his road roller. The heavy machine made a low sound as it moved along the dusty road. Ravi was a simple man who worked with machines for the county. He was not the kind of person who liked arguments or noise. He believed in doing his work in silence. On that day, his task was to clear and pack the narrow road near the creek, so that trucks could pass without sinking in the soft ground. The creek was a peaceful place. Birds sat on the branches that bent over the water, and the air smelled fresh after the small rain from the night before. Ravi drove his roller slowly, letting the steel drum flatten the loose soil. He knew that once the road was packed, it would help many people who lived nearby. Children would walk safely, farmers would carry goods easily, and emergency vehicles could pass without trouble. Ravi kept his mind on the work. His hands were steady on the controls. But as he reached a turn where the road narrowed near the creek, he noticed a group of men standing across the path. They did not move aside when they saw the roller. Instead, they spread their arms wide as if to stop him. Ravi slowed the machine until it came to a full halt. Dust settled in the air. The men wore jackets that had the name of the neighborhood association printed on the back. Their faces were tight with pride. They looked as though they believed they were real officers. One man stepped forward. He was tall with sharp eyes and a loud voice. He raised his hand and spoke in a commanding tone. "Turn back. You cannot bring this machine here. This road is not for you." Ravi climbed down from the roller. His boots pressed into the soil, leaving firm prints. He looked at the man calmly. "I have county orders," he said. "This land belongs to the county, and I am here to make the road strong." "Why are you blocking the way?" The tall man folded his arms. "This is the neighborhood ground. We are in charge here. Nobody makes changes without our approval." Ravi showed him the papers that were kept in a brown folder. The stamp of the county office was clear. "I have permission. You cannot stop this work." The group of men did not even look at the papers. They laughed among themselves, but it was not a friendly laugh. Another man, shorter but just as stubborn, shook his head. "We do not care about your papers. We are the HOA and we decide what happens here." Ravi looked at them quietly. He had seen such men before, people who liked power even when they had none. He knew they were not police, yet they tried to act like it. They had clipboards, whistles hanging from their necks, and a way of speaking that tried to sound official. Some people in the neighborhood called them the HOA police. Ravi put the folder back under his arm. He did not like wasting time in endless arguments. He knew the road had to be finished before the trucks arrived in the evening. But the men stood firm, shoulder to shoulder, refusing to step aside. He thought of driving the roller slowly forward, but that was not his way. He was not here to fight. He looked at the calm water of the creek, then back at the group, and made a choice. He reached into his pocket and took out his phone. With steady fingers, he called the sheriff's office. "Sheriff," Ravi said in a clear voice. "This is Ravi. I am at the creek road. I have county orders for repair, but the neighborhood group is blocking me. Can you send help?" The sheriff on the other end replied, "Stay where you are. I will be there soon." Ravi ended the call and slipped the phone back into his pocket. He turned to the men. "The sheriff is coming. You can explain your case to him." The tall man's face changed slightly. His eyes flickered with doubt, but he tried to hold his ground. "Call whoever you want. We will not move. This road belongs to us." Minutes passed slowly. The air grew tense. Ravi stood near his roller, waiting calmly. The men whispered among themselves, but their voices were filled with unease. They had never faced the sheriff directly. In their meetings, they often spoke loudly about rules and control, but now they would have to prove their authority in front of the law. Soon, the distant hum of an engine broke the silence. A patrol car rolled down the dusty path, its tires crunching the gravel. Dust lifted behind it as it came closer. The men shifted their feet nervously, their earlier boldness shrinking. The vehicle stopped near the group. The door opened and Sheriff Lewis stepped out. He was a tall man with a calm but steady gaze. His boots pressed firmly on the ground as he walked toward them. He was known in the county for his fairness. People respected him because he listened first and judged later, but he never allowed pretenders to misuse power. The HOA men straightened themselves, trying to appear confident. But their hands twitched slightly and their eyes avoided the sheriff's direct stare. "What is happening here?" Sheriff Lewis asked in a clear voice. He looked at Ravi first. "Ravi, you called me. Tell me the matter." Ravi nodded. "Sheriff, I have county orders to prepare this road near the creek. The papers are here, but these men stopped me and will not allow me to continue. They say it is their land." Ravi handed over the folder. The sheriff opened it, glanced at the seal, and closed it again. His eyes turned toward the group. "Is this true?" he asked them. The tall man cleared his throat. "Sheriff, we are the neighborhood association. We take care of this place. We do not want heavy machines here. They will spoil the ground." The sheriff folded his arms. "Do you own this land?" The men looked at each other. No one answered at once. Finally, the shorter man said, "We manage it. That is enough." The sheriff's voice grew firm. "Managing is not owning. This road belongs to the county. The county has given orders and Ravi has the papers. You have no right to block this machine." The men froze. Their faces lost color. The strong tone of the sheriff left no room for argument. Ravi watched quietly. He knew the sheriff's words carried more weight than all their whistles and jackets. Sheriff Lewis stepped closer. His eyes locked on the tall man. "Step aside. Let the work continue. If you do not, you will be taken in for obstruction." The silence grew heavy. The men did not move for a moment, but the sheriff's gaze did not waver. At last, the tall man sighed and stepped back. One by one, the others followed. Their shoulders dropped and their pride faded. Ravi climbed back onto his roller. The engine roared gently as he moved forward again. The path cleared before him, and the steel drum pressed the soil firm. Behind him, the sheriff stood watching, making sure no one dared to block again. The men who had called themselves guardians stood by the side of the road, their jackets now looking less like uniforms and more like empty cloth. They had wanted to play the role of police, but the law had reminded them of their true place. Ravi focused on his work. The roller moved forward, steady and unshaken as the creek reflected the bright sky above. That day, the road near the creek began to change. It was no longer soft ground. It was a path made strong for all who needed it, and it was clear to everyone who truly held the power to decide. The next morning, the creek road was calm again. The soft sound of water flowing against the stones filled the air. The fresh soil packed by the heavy road roller looked strong and firm. Ravi stood beside his machine, wiping the dust off the metal drum with a rag. He was satisfied with the work he had done, but in his mind, the memory of the confrontation with the neighborhood group was still fresh. The sheriff had made them step aside, but Ravi knew such men rarely gave up easily. They had tasted a small loss, and that loss might burn their pride. He wondered if they would return, looking for another chance to show their power. For now, the road was clear. The farmers brought their small tractors, and children walked freely across the new surface. Even the delivery truck from town arrived without struggle, its tires rolling smoothly over the packed ground. Ravi watched them with quiet happiness. He believed roads connected people, and to see others benefit from his work always gave him peace. But the neighborhood association was restless. In a large house near the edge of the community, the group gathered for their evening meeting. The tall man, whose name was Malik, sat at the head of the wooden table. Around him, the others leaned forward, their faces tense with frustration. "We were embarrassed in front of everyone," Malik said firmly. "The sheriff treated us like children. That man Ravi ignored us, and now the whole neighborhood talks about our failure. If we let this continue, we will lose all respect." The shorter man, named Ralph, tapped his fingers on the table. "The sheriff may support him, but we cannot stay silent. This road brings strangers close to our houses. We must show that we are still the authority here." Others nodded in agreement. They were men who liked to feel important, and the idea of being ignored by the county or by one worker made their pride burn. Their jackets, their clipboards, and their whistles gave them a false sense of command, and now that image was broken. Malik raised his hand for silence. "We will not fight with machines or sheriffs, but we will use rules. We will write notices. We will send letters. We will pressure him until he understands that nothing happens in this neighborhood without our approval." The men agreed. They believed that paper and words could create walls stronger than stone. The next day, when Ravi returned to his machine, he found a white paper tied to the handle. The words written in bold letters said, "Work stopped. By order of the Neighborhood Association." Ravi pulled the paper off and read it slowly. A smile touched his lips. The notice had no official seal, no county stamp, only a signature that looked shaky. He folded it carefully and placed it in his pocket. Without wasting time, he started the roller and continued his work. The sound of the machine echoed through the creekside. Dust rose and the steel drum pressed the soil flat. Farmers waved at him as they passed, grateful for the strong path. Children stopped to watch the big machine with wide eyes. Ravi waved back kindly, but Malik and his group stood at a distance watching. Their faces tightened when they saw Ravi ignore their notice. "This man does not respect us," Ralph muttered. "If we let him continue, we will look powerless." Malik narrowed his eyes. "Then we must plan carefully. He may have the sheriff now, but we will find another way." That evening, Ravi visited the sheriff's office. He handed the folded paper to Sheriff Lewis. The sheriff read it and shook his head. "They are trying to play with authority. But remember this, Ravi, the law is on your side. These notices mean nothing. If they trouble you again, call me at once." Ravi nodded. "Thank you, Sheriff. I will continue my work as ordered." The sheriff placed the paper in his drawer. "You do that, and do not let their tricks slow you down. They are loud, but the truth is quiet and strong." Days passed, and the road grew stronger. Gravel was spread, and the roller pressed it into the earth. The creekside, once muddy and uneven, now looked like a proper path that could carry heavy loads. Villagers began to bring their goods with ease. Small carts and bicycles moved smoothly. The road became a lifeline. But as the road improved, the HOA group grew more bitter. They saw more outsiders coming through. They saw their control slipping away. Malik called another meeting. "This is no longer about a road," he told the others. "This is about respect. If people believe the sheriff and the county are stronger than us, then we are nothing. We must act before it is too late." "What will we do?" one man asked nervously. Malik leaned forward. "We will set a blockade. Not with our bodies this time, but with barriers. We will place wood and stones across the path. If Ravi wishes to continue, he will have to remove them himself, and we will be waiting." The plan was agreed. Late in the night, while the road was silent, they carried large branches, wooden planks, and heavy rocks. They placed them across the path, creating a wall of obstacles. In their minds, this would prove that they still had control. The next morning, Ravi arrived early. His eyes fell on the blockade. The heavy road roller stood behind him, its engine silent for the moment. He walked forward, studying the wood and stones carefully. He did not look angry. He did not look afraid. Instead, he bent down, picked up one rock and rolled it aside. Then he lifted a plank and dragged it to the grass. Piece by piece, he cleared the blockade. His movements were slow but steady, like the river that cut through stone with patience. When the last branch was lifted, he climbed onto the roller, started the engine, and drove forward. The machine pressed the soil as if nothing had happened. From a distance, Malik and his group watched in disbelief. Their faces turned pale. They had expected Ravi to stop, to argue, to call for help again, but he had simply moved the barriers himself without fear or complaint. "This man is different," one of them whispered. "He does not fight, but he does not stop either." Malik clenched his jaw. "Then we will push harder." He cannot always win, but the truth was clear. Each trick they tried only made Ravi stronger in the eyes of the people. Farmers spoke of his patience. Children admired his courage. Even elders nodded with respect when they passed the road and saw the progress. The sheriff heard about the blockade and visited Ravi once more. "I heard what they did," he said. "You handled it well. But remember, patience is not weakness. If they cross the line again, the law will not remain silent." Ravi nodded. "I understand. My work is my answer to them. Let the road itself speak." That night, as the moon rose over the creek, the new path shone faintly under the silver light. It stood as a symbol of quiet strength, a road built not only of soil and gravel, but also of calm courage and steady will. Malik and his men sat in their meeting room again, their jackets hanging on the chairs, their pride wounded deeper than before. They knew Ravi would not stop. They knew the sheriff would stand behind him. Yet their hearts refused to accept defeat. The silence in the room was heavy. No one spoke, but in each man's eyes the same thought burned. They would try again. And by the creek, Ravi rested beside his machine, knowing the struggle was not over, but also knowing that he had already won something greater than any argument. He had won the trust of the people who used the road, and their trust was stronger than any false authority. The morning air at the creek was cool and fresh. The water sparkled under the sunlight, and the trees swayed gently in the breeze. Ravi had started the roller early, determined to finish the remaining part of the path before the trucks arrived in the afternoon. The gravel was spread evenly, but there were still a few uneven patches near the edges that needed attention. As he worked, he noticed a figure approaching from the road that led to the main village. The figure was walking briskly but carefully, carrying a small bag. Ravi slowed the roller and stepped down to meet whoever was coming. The man introduced himself politely. "Good morning, sir. My name is Anwar. I work with the county survey team. I was sent to inspect the progress of this road. I hope I am not disturbing you." Ravi smiled. "Good morning. You are welcome. I am Ravi. This road will be ready by evening. The path here needed reinforcement. Come, I can show you the work." Anwar followed Ravi along the edge of the creek. His eyes were bright with curiosity and respect. He examined the packed gravel and the edges of the road carefully. He nodded as Ravi explained how the roller pressed the soil and gravel together to make the surface strong. "This is excellent work," Anwar said. "The county will be pleased. Roads like this make a big difference for small villages. You can see how easy it is to move carts and bicycles now." Ravi felt a warm sense of pride. His work was simple, but its effect was meaningful. Villagers passing by smiled and waved. Even the children stopped their play to watch the road roller, fascinated by the large machine moving steadily over the gravel. While they were speaking, Ravi noticed movement near the other side of the creek. Malik and his group had returned, watching from a distance. Their eyes followed every step of Ravi and the surveyor. They whispered among themselves, their expressions a mix of anger and frustration. Anwar noticed their presence too. "Are they causing trouble?" he asked cautiously. Ravi shook his head. "They like to watch, but today I will finish the work. The sheriff's words protect me. They cannot block me anymore." Despite his calm, Ravi knew the group was not done. Their pride had been hurt twice already. First, they had tried to stop him with their bodies. Second, they had attempted a blockade with rocks and planks. Now they were simply watching, planning their next move. Ravi returned to his roller and started moving slowly along the uneven section near the creek bank. Anwar followed, taking notes about the soil, the gravel, and the structure of the new path. Ravi explained why the edges needed extra reinforcement. "This part is tricky," Ravi said. "If the water from the creek comes too close, it will erode the soil. That is why I am pressing the gravel deeper here." Anwar nodded. "I can see your experience. Most people would just lay the gravel and leave. You are thinking ahead." While they worked, the villagers began to gather on both sides of the creek. They were curious and eager to see the progress. Many came with small carts and baskets, testing the strength of the newly packed surface. Ravi waved them off gently, saying the work was not yet finished. Malik and his group stepped closer, hiding behind a small rise. They were no longer bold enough to confront Ravi openly. They watched silently, their faces dark with worry. "This man is patient," Malik whispered. "He does not argue. He does not fight. But he keeps working and people see it. If we act now, we must be careful. One wrong move and the villagers will turn against us." Ralph, still beside him, looked uneasy. "We should have stopped him earlier. Now it is too late. Everyone respects him." Malik clenched his fists. "We cannot let him finish completely. If this road becomes fully strong, we will have no power here." They waited, planning their next move. But Ravi's calm and steady work made it harder for them to act without drawing attention. Meanwhile, the county surveyor, Anwar, was taking photographs and writing notes in his pad. "This is a good example of proper road maintenance," he said. "You are saving time, money, and effort. The county should record this method for other villages as well." Ravi smiled modestly. "I just do what I can. If it helps people, it is enough." By noon, half of the road was fully reinforced. The roller pressed the gravel smoothly, leaving a clean, even path. Villagers now walked confidently on the new surface, some even pushing small carts with vegetables to test its strength. Children laughed as they rode bicycles and elders nodded with approval. Malik and his group were growing more frustrated. They knew that if Ravi completed the work, their authority would be further weakened. They decided to step closer, moving quietly behind a cluster of trees. Just as they were about to take action, a sound stopped them. The distant hum of the sheriff's patrol car reached their ears. Sheriff Lewis had been keeping watch from a nearby road, following Ravi's progress. Malik froze. "The sheriff is nearby," he whispered. "If we do anything, we will be in real trouble." Ralph sighed. "We cannot let him see us planning." "Step back." The men retreated quietly, hiding their plans for another day. Ravi continued working, unaware of how close danger had come. Anwar, meanwhile, was impressed. You handled everything well. Even when people tried to block the work, you stayed calm. Most would lose patience, but you did not. Ravi wiped his forehead with a cloth. Work is always hard, but anger makes it harder. I just focus on what needs to be done. The rest of the morning passed smoothly. By early afternoon, the road near the creek was almost finished. The roller pressed the final sections, and Ravi inspected the edges carefully. The gravel was compact, the soil firm, and the path safe for all who would use it. Villagers came closer to see the finished work. They praised Ravi and Anwar. This is wonderful, one elder said. Now we can move goods safely and children can play without danger. Ravi felt satisfied. The road was no longer just a path. It was a symbol of persistence, patience, and calm courage. But as he stood and watched the villagers, he saw Malik and his group at the far edge of the property. Their faces were pale, their pride wounded, and their eyes filled with determination. They were planning, waiting for the next opportunity to challenge him. Ravi did not worry. He knew that work, honesty, and law would always be stronger than false authority and pride. Still, he remained alert, ready to continue his task without conflict. As the sun began to set, casting golden light over the creek, Ravi parked the road roller and walked along the new path. The gravel sparkled slightly and the soil was strong under his boots. Children ran along the edges, laughing and pointing at small stones pushed neatly into place by the roller. Farmers carried their goods easily across the path. Ravi smiled quietly. This road was his work, but it belonged to the people now. He had faced challenges, false authority and stubbornness, yet he had remained patient. Today, the path was complete, and its strength would speak louder than any words. Anwar stayed behind to finish his notes and photographs. I will report this to the county, he said. They will be impressed by your work and your patience. It is rare to see someone handle challenges so calmly. Ravi nodded. I am happy if it helps people. That is what matters most. As evening approached, Malik and his group finally left. They knew the sheriff was watching, and any attempt to intervene again would only bring trouble. But their eyes still held the same fire, the same pride that refused to accept defeat. Ravi cleaned the road roller and parked it near the edge of the creek. The water reflected the sky, calm and clear, just like the road he had built. He looked at the path and felt a sense of quiet pride. The creek flowed gently, carrying away the day's troubles. The road stood firm, a testament to patience, courage, and steady effort. Ravi knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, but today he had shown that calm determination and honest work could overcome even the loudest opposition. As he walked home, Ravi reflected on the day. He had faced false authority, stubborn men, and unexpected obstacles, yet the work was complete. The road near the creek was now a safe path for everyone. The evening air was cool, the birds had returned to their nests, and the creek whispered softly. Ravi knew this was just the beginning of his journey. There would be more roads to build, more challenges to face, but he was ready. Patience and steady work had proven stronger than pride and false authority, and the people would remember. The sun rose slowly over the creek, painting the water with golden reflections. Ravi was already at the site, checking the road he had reinforced the previous days. The surface was firm and smooth, yet a few areas near the bank still needed careful pressing. The road was more than just gravel and soil. It was a symbol of his steady work and the county's trust in him. Ravi began the roller, the heavy drum moving steadily over the gravel. The vibrations of the machine hummed through his hands, familiar and comforting. Farmers and villagers started arriving early, eager to see the progress and to test the road for their carts. Children laughed as they ran along the sides, their feet kicking small clouds of dust. Ravi waved at them. He always found joy in these simple moments, seeing the direct effect of his work. But not far from the creek, Malik and his group lingered. They were hidden behind thick bushes and trees, their eyes narrowed as they observed. Their pride had been bruised twice already, first when the sheriff intervened and second when Ravi had removed their blockade himself. Yet their stubbornness did not fade. Ralph whispered, "He is patient, calm, and strong. People admire him. What can we do now?" Malik clenched his fists. "We cannot confront him directly, but maybe we can challenge him indirectly. We need a test. Something that will force him to pause or call the sheriff again." Their plan remained unspoken for a few moments as they watched Ravi maneuver the road roller over a rough patch near the creek bank. The machine pressed the gravel deeper into the soil, leaving a compact surface. It was clear to them that he knew exactly what he was doing. Every movement of the roller, every adjustment showed experience and care. Meanwhile, Ravi stopped the roller to inspect the edges. A small group of villagers gathered near him. One elder, Mr. Jamil, pointed to the bank. "This spot might wash away during heavy rain," he said. "Can it be strengthened?" Ravi nodded. "I will press the gravel deeper here. The edges need care because water erodes quickly. That is why I work slowly in these sections." The villagers watched quietly. They admired his patience and skill. Ravi did not rush, and his calm presence reassured them. Children played safely nearby, and even the farmers left their carts momentarily to see how he worked. From their hiding spot, Malik's group grew restless. They had no tools to challenge Ravi directly. Any move now would expose them to the sheriff, yet their pride would not allow them to leave. Ralph suggested quietly, "Let us create a small barrier again, just enough to delay him." Malik shook his head. "No, we tried that. He simply removes it himself. That will only make him stronger in people's eyes. We need something different," they debated in whispers, their voices barely audible above the hum of the roller and the sounds of the creek. At that moment, Sheriff Lewis arrived, his patrol car slowing to a stop near the road. He stepped out and walked toward Ravi, his eyes scanning the area. "Good morning, Ravi," the sheriff said calmly. "I came to check on the progress." "Everything seems to be going well," Ravi smiled. "Good morning, Sheriff. The road is nearly complete. Only a few areas need pressing. Villagers have been helping me observe these spots." Sheriff Lewis nodded, noticing the villagers and children nearby. "You handled the previous challenge as well. I expect no trouble today, but let me stay for a while to ensure everyone understands the law and authority here." Ravi appreciated the support. "Thank you. I prefer work over arguments. If everyone lets me focus, the road will be ready soon." The sheriff walked with Ravi along the road, observing the packed gravel and uneven edges. He occasionally asked questions about the technique and suggested minor adjustments. Ravi explained every step carefully. Back behind the trees, Malik's group saw the sheriff and stiffened. They had hoped for a chance to interfere again, but his presence reminded them of their limits. They could not act without risking legal consequences. Malik muttered, "We cannot do anything with the sheriff here. But this is not over. There will be another day," Ralph sighed. "His patience and calm work make us look small. Every action we take seems weaker than his steady progress." As the morning progressed, Ravi worked methodically. He pressed the gravel over the rough sections, adjusted the edges near the creek, and ensured that the surface could handle carts, bicycles, and light vehicles. Villagers tested the road, moving their carts slowly over the new surface, and nodded with satisfaction. Ravi's phone buzzed. He checked it and saw a message from the county office. It praised his work and noted that the road could serve as a model for other villages. Ravi smiled quietly. He did not work for praise, but recognition from the county reinforced the value of steady effort and attention to detail. By noon, the road was nearly complete. The roller moved slowly, pressing the final patches. The villagers stood nearby, admiring the firm path. Children ran along the sides, while elders commented on how the road would improve their daily lives. From the distance, Malik's group watched silently. They had no plan, no tools, and now a sheriff nearby. They realized that Ravi's calm patience, skill, and steady work had earned the respect of everyone. Their attempts to stop him in the past had only highlighted his determination. Malik muttered bitterly, "Even if we try, people see the truth. This man is respected. We are ignored." Ralph added quietly, "Maybe it is time to wait. Patience is not his weakness. He only grows stronger as he works." For the first time, Malik considered that confrontation might not win them respect. Their attempts at control had failed because Ravi had focused on work, law, and calm actions. Ravi, unaware of their discussion, continued pressing the gravel along the creek bank. Each pass of the roller made the soil stronger, the road more stable. Birds landed on nearby branches, children laughed, and the water sparkled under the sun. The environment seemed calm and peaceful, but it held the memory of tension from previous days. By late afternoon, Ravi parked the roller and walked along the completed section. He inspected every edge carefully, ensuring there were no loose patches. Villagers followed him, eager to see the final result. "This is perfect," Mr. Jamil said. "Now our carts and bicycles can move safely. Thank you for your careful work." Ravi smiled modestly. "It is my duty. Roads connect people. If they are safe, everyone benefits." As the villagers tested the road, Malik's group retreated slowly. They had realized that direct confrontation would not succeed. Ravi's calm persistence, combined with the sheriff's support, had created a barrier stronger than any planks or rocks. The evening approached, casting long shadows over the creek. The road shimmered slightly under the soft sunlight. Ravi walked along it, feeling a quiet sense of achievement. Each stone and patch of soil reflected his patience and dedication. Sheriff Lewis, who had observed the work throughout the day, approached Ravi once more. "You handled every challenge wisely," he said. "Your calm focus and steady work have shown that patience and law are stronger than pride and false authority." Ravi nodded. "Thank you, Sheriff. I believe that steady work and calm actions can solve most problems." The sheriff smiled. "Indeed, and people notice. Your example will be remembered here." As the sun set completely, the villagers began leaving, carrying their carts and goods back home. Children waved goodbye to Ravi and the roller. Birds settled in the trees, and the creek's water reflected the last colors of the day. Malik and his group finally returned to their homes, silent and thoughtful. They had seen how patient work and quiet courage could overcome their pride and false authority. For the first time, they realized that their attempts at control had only highlighted Ravi's strength. Ravi, meanwhile, cleaned the roller and parked it near the creek. He looked at the completed road, feeling satisfaction. The gravel was firm, the soil compact, and the path safe for everyone. Today had been a test of patience, and he had passed it without conflict, only through steady work and calm determination. As night fell, the creek whispered softly, carrying the memory of the day's work. Ravi walked home under the stars, knowing that tomorrow would bring new tasks. Yet he felt confident. The lesson of the day was clear. Steady work, patience, and calm courage could overcome even the loudest opposition. And the people would remember this road, not only for its strength, but for the quiet determination behind it. The morning sun rose gently over the creek, spreading light across the newly reinforced road. Ravi had arrived early, as usual, to inspect the last remaining section near the bank. The work was nearly complete, but the final edges needed careful pressing to ensure they would withstand heavy rain and passing carts. Ravi climbed onto the road roller and started the engine. The drum rolled steadily over the gravel, leaving a smooth, firm surface behind. Birds chirped from the trees nearby, and the cool breeze carried the scent of fresh soil. It was a peaceful morning, yet Ravi remained alert. He knew Malik and his group were still watching from a distance, their pride wounded but their stubbornness not gone. The villagers arrived gradually, eager to see the final result. Farmers brought their carts to test the road. Children ran along the sides, and elders observed the strong surface with satisfaction. Ravi smiled quietly, glad that his work would make their daily lives easier. From the edge of the creek, Malik and his group appeared again. This time they stood farther away, their expressions a mix of determination and hesitation. They had tried to challenge Ravi before, but his calm persistence and the sheriff's support had made it clear that they could not succeed through force or intimidation. Ralph whispered, "He is patient, steady, and respected. How can we stop him now?" Malik clenched his fists. "We cannot act openly, not with the sheriff nearby. But we can create an obstacle that he cannot ignore." They moved quietly behind the trees, carrying long branches, a few large stones, and a wooden crate they had brought secretly. Their plan was to place the items in the middle of the road, hoping to delay Ravi. Ravi noticed movement from the corner of his eye. He slowed the roller and stepped down. Carefully, he observed the men as they tried to set up a blockade. "Good morning," Ravi called calmly, his voice carrying across the road. "I see you are busy. Do you need help placing those items?" The group froze. They had expected anger, shouting, or hesitation, not a calm greeting. Malik turned to Ralph. "Do not answer. Let him speak," Ravi continued. "If you want to test the road, you can do it safely, but blocking progress is unnecessary. We can work together." The men hesitated. Ravi's calm demeanor made them uneasy. They had tried to intimidate him twice before, but his steady work had always won the day. This time, his voice and presence alone made them stop. Just then, the distant hum of the sheriff's patrol car echoed along the road. Sheriff Lewis had been following Ravi's progress and had arrived to ensure there was no trouble. Malik and his group glanced nervously toward the vehicle. Their plan had to be abandoned. Any action now would have legal consequences. Ralph whispered, "We cannot do anything." "The sheriff is here," Malik muttered. "Fine, today we wait. But we will not forget this." Ravi smiled gently. "Thank you for stepping aside. Let's finish the work together peacefully." The men retreated, leaving the road clear. Ravi climbed back onto the roller and began pressing the remaining gravel along the creek bank. He moved slowly but steadily, focusing on every edge, ensuring the road was strong and safe. Anwar, the county surveyor, arrived shortly after, notebook in hand. "You are doing excellent work," he said. "The road will be a model for other villages. The careful pressing along the edges ensures durability. The county will be impressed." Ravi nodded. "I do what I can. The road is for everyone, and it must last." Villagers watched as the roller passed along the final sections. Farmers tested the surface with loaded carts, and even children rode bicycles along the edges. Each movement confirmed the road's strength. Ravi smiled quietly, knowing that the result was more important than recognition. Malik and his group observed from a distance, still hiding behind the trees. They had wanted control and respect, but they realized that Ravi's work had earned far more than their attempts at authority ever could. Villagers respected him, and his actions spoke louder than any words or threats. Ralph said quietly, "People admire him. We cannot match that with our tricks." Malik remained silent. He knew it was true. Ravi's patience, steady work, and calm courage had shown everyone the power of action over pride. By noon, the road was complete. Ravi parked the roller near the creek and walked along the path, inspecting every section carefully. The gravel was firm, the soil compact, and the edges reinforced to prevent erosion. The path was safe for carts, bicycles, and even small vehicles. The villagers approached, offering thanks and praise. One elder, Mr. Jamil, said, "This is the best road we have ever had. It is strong and safe. You have done a great service for everyone." Ravi smiled. "I am happy it will help people. That is enough for me." Children ran along the edges, testing the surface, laughing, and pointing at the small stones perfectly pressed into place. Farmers moved their carts easily, carrying goods across the road without difficulty. The creek flowed gently beside the path, its water reflecting the bright sunlight. Sheriff Lewis walked up to Ravi, his presence calm and reassuring. "You handled every challenge wisely," he said. "Your steady work and patience have shown that calm courage and law are stronger than false authority." Ravi nodded. "Thank you, Sheriff. I believe that work and honesty always carry more weight than loud words or threats." The sheriff smiled. "Indeed, and the people notice. You have set an example here. The neighborhood will remember it." From a distance, Malik and his group finally left. They walked slowly back toward their homes, their faces thoughtful. They had seen firsthand how persistence, patience, and calm actions could overcome even loud opposition. Their attempts to assert false authority had only highlighted Ravi's strength. Ravi, meanwhile, cleaned the roller and parked it safely near the creek. He walked along the completed road, touching the gravel gently. Each section reflected his steady effort and careful attention. The path was more than just soil and stones. It was a symbol of determination, patience, and quiet courage. The villagers stayed for a while longer, enjoying the safety and convenience of the new road. They spoke among themselves, admiring Ravi's work and noting how much it would improve their daily lives. Farmers smiled as they tested their carts. Children laughed as they rode bicycles, and elders nodded with approval. Ravi felt a deep sense of satisfaction. His work was simple, but its impact was significant. He had faced false authority, stubborn opposition, and the challenge of completing a road near the creek. Yet he had remained calm, focused, and patient. As evening fell, casting soft shadows over the creek, Ravi walked home. The road behind him reflected the last rays of the sun, firm and strong. The creek whispered gently as it flowed beside the path, carrying the day's troubles away. Malik and his group returned to their homes, quiet and thoughtful. They had learned a lesson about pride, patience, and the power of calm determination. They realized that respect earned through action and honesty outweighed authority claimed through intimidation or false titles. Ravi, resting at home, reflected on the day. The road was complete, the villagers were safe and satisfied, and the sheriff had acknowledged his work. Challenges had come, but patience and steady effort had overcome them all. That night, under the stars, the creek shone softly in the moonlight. The road stood firm, a symbol of resilience, courage, and quiet strength. Ravi knew that tomorrow would bring new tasks and challenges, but he was ready. He had learned that patience, calm courage, and steady work could overcome even the most stubborn opposition. The villagers would remember the road, not just for its strength, but for the steady hand that built it. And Malik and his group would remember the quiet lesson. Pride and false authority could never outweigh determination and honesty. Ravi slept peacefully that night, knowing that his work had made a difference. The road would last for years, helping people move safely and easily, and standing as a silent testament to the power of patience, calmness, and persistence. The creek flowed gently beside the road, carrying the memory of a day when quiet courage won over false authority. And in the hearts of those who saw the work, respect for steady effort and honesty would remain forever.